What will Howard must do for Ohio State to win the national championship?
You are Locked On Buckeyes, your daily podcast on the Ohio State Buckeyes. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome in, Buckeye fans, to a Monday edition of Locked On Buckeyes for the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day, here on Monday, August 19th in the year 2024. I'm your host, Jay Stevens, also the host of the Jay Stevens Podcast, and today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Now through September 22nd, all FanDuel customers can bet $5 and get a 3-week free trial of NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Visit FanDuel.com/LockedOn to get started. We were all waiting for the day that Ryan Day announced who would be Ohio State's QB1 this year. It's Will Howard, and it's no surprise to many people out there because we all thought he's going to transfer in and be QB1 for Ohio State this year. Now, with him being QB1 this year, there are some things that are going to be expected of Will Howard. Some of them are with his arm. Some of them are with his leg. Some of them are things that happen off the field, but it doesn't get much better than being the starting quarterback at Ohio State. And there are things that are going to be expected of you when you hold that title. And one of them is what Will Howard must do for Ohio State to win the national championship, because this year, by the players, this is a natty or bust year. And Will Howard doesn't have to do amazing things. Doesn't need to go for 5,000 plus yards, 50 plus passing touchdowns, have 1,000 yards on the ground. He does not need to do those amazing feats. But what Will Howard needs to do is just do his job. But his job, capitalize in short yardage, third down, convert there, and make sure that when you're in the red zone, you're putting points on the board, but also realize you're surrounded by some of the best talent around, and any quarterback in the country will be surrounded by. So they're going to help you. Hey, man, you ain't got to be amazing. You just got to do all the little things. Make sure you're doing the simple things that a quarterback is expected to do, no matter if he's at Ohio State, if he's at Kansas State, or wherever he is playing football. It's a little bit different at Ohio State, though. A year ago, there was a quarterback in Columbus that did he capitalize on third down? Did he capitalize in the red zone? Did he capitalize in short yardage? Did he make the simple throws when he needed to? There was a quarterback last year that in McCord, I try to support McCord as much as I can, but one thing that film will tell you, he did not capitalize in those moments like he should have. Or maybe that was all he could do at the time, but still, 3rd and 3, you're Ohio State, you should convert. 4th and 2, you're Ohio State. If you're going for it, you should convert. Now, that might be an elitist mindset, but against most schools out there, you should convert that. But Ryan Day also realizes, hey, there are going to be times that we have some obstacles. There are going to be times we have to overcome some adversity. Do we have a quarterback that we can trust that will help us overcome said adversity in crunch time or in big games? Will Howard's done that before. Now, the one thing I've heard recently about Will Howard, which is true, he got benched last year for a freshman. Now, Avery Johnson's now the guy in Kansas State in Manhattan that's going to be the QB1 for Kansas State. And there's a belief out there that Avery Johnson would have been QB1 even if Will Howard decided to stay at Kansas State. And that may be true. But one thing I want to believe about Will Howard this year, and I've said it numerous times this offseason, I'll say it again, I believe Will Howard will have a career year in Columbus this year. The best year he's ever had in college football, he'll have that this year. And that is not me saying he's going to do what Haskins did or do what Stroud did. But based off the player he has been previously, and based off the coaches at Ohio State, and now he's already been in tune with, hey, I got to get my body right. He's done that. Hey, I got to learn the playbook. He's done that. I got to take command of the huddle. He's doing that. And so with all those things in mind, then you got Ryan Day and Chip Kelly, and you cannot forget Brian Hartline and Carlos Lachlan and Justin Fry, who we're going to talk about later in the show. You got all those guys in your corner. Those coaches will help things be a little bit easier, help the transition be a little bit smoother for Will Howard. But then think about this. If we were to rank Ohio State's toughest games, is the Michigan game the toughest for you, or is it the Oregon game, or is it the Penn State game? No matter which game it is, those are 3 really tough games. And the luxury for Will Howard is with the Buckeyes' quest to win a national championship, they're going to have one of the best defenses in the country. Well, they should have one of the best defenses in the country. And what is that going to do? Make Will Howard's job a whole lot easier. Because if I'm a quarterback and I already know my defense is going to get me the ball back in it maybe plus territory numerous times throughout the game, all I have to do is capitalize on that opportunity. Simply put points on the board. Now, that is not to say that Will Howard and the Buckeyes offense will score touchdowns every time they're on the field. I'm not saying that, and that's not even realistic. But what is realistic is that the Buckeyes offense, if they're on the field if they score points every time they're out there, if the Buckeyes score, if the Buckeyes score every time the offense is out there, maybe even either a touchdown or the field goal team comes out and they kick a field goal for 3 points, what are you doing? You're doing something at a rate that's not really expected, but makes it very, very hard for the opposition to be able to be successful. Because if they roll out first 4 drives of the game, 3 touchdowns and a field goal, that's 24 points. Most opponents in college football, that's going to mess with their mentals. That's going to make them be a little shook. Wait. 24 points, 4 drives. One of them was a field goal. Whoa. You expect us to compete with that? You expect us to compete with that offense, with that team? That, hey, maybe they don't score a touchdown, but they put 3 points on the board, and you got the defense out here? We can't run against the defense. I legitimately think Ohio State's defense will be one of the best or one of the better run-stopping defenses in the country. Cody Simon's going to be a big part of that. Going to talk about him later in the show too. But Will Howard is walking into a situation. Yeah, you got the keys to the offense. That's great. They would allow you to make all the checks, do everything you want to do. But this team is defense first, not offense first, like most Ryan Day coach teams at Ohio State. And I think that shift where it's a defense first team, not an offense first team, it's not going to say we're going to forget about the weapons Ohio State's offense has, but that's going to make things, 1, easier for Will Howard, but 2, it's going to boost the Buckeyes' chances to actually win a national championship this year. Because what do we find? Really, LSU in 2019, they did have a good defense, but that was an offense first team. You got to have a defense first team to win a national championship. 2020, everybody says Alabama's offense, yes. What did that defense do, though? That defense was insane. Georgia, back-to-back years. Yeah, I got Stetson Bennett, but what do you find? He's not the guy that's leading everything. It's not an offense first team. It's a defense first team. So for Will Howard, that's his best friend, along with the offensive line that I do think by weeks 4, against 4, 5, and 6, you will legitimately see, okay, they've been working, they've been grinding, and this is a team and a unit that will be able to move people all year long. Will Howard's job, it doesn't get much better than being a starting quarterback at Ohio State. But the Buckeyes, all they need him to do, make the simple throw, convert on 3rd down, convert in short yardage, move the ball in short yardage situations, and also put points on the board, score in the red zone. It sounds easy. It's not as easy as it sounds. What's also not as easy as it sounds is Ohio State capitalizing on recruiting offensive linemen, because the Buckeyes missed out on another massive offensive line recruit, and it makes you wonder, how hot is Justin Fry's seat? This episode is brought to you by FanDuel. You've heard us talk a lot about FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Well, we have something a little different for you. Now through September 22nd, all FanDuel customers can bet $5 and get a 3-week free trial of NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Then with the YouTube TV base plan, you'll be able to watch every regular season Sunday afternoon out-of-market game. All you need is a Google account and a current form of payment, and you can cancel anytime. Just visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to download America's #1 sportsbook. This episode is brought to you by Billiards Plus. Billiards Plus has the best selection of pool tables, game tables, shuffleboard tables, and more. And the best service is Central Ohio. Everything you need for in-home and even backyard entertainment is at Billiards Plus. Billiards Plus carries the best pool tables from Brunswick, Alhassan, Canada, Billiards, and more. They are family owned and operated. And when you talk to the staff at Billiards Plus, you know you're talking to an expert who won't steer you wrong. No matter the season, Billiards Plus has you covered for all your indoor and outdoor entertainment needs. Kenny, Sarah, and the whole staff will always go above and beyond to give you the best customer service in the industry. Billiards Plus, visit their showroom on Dublin Centre Drive in Dublin. College football is back, and the Locked On College Football podcast kicks off the action with a live season preview at 7 p.m. Eastern Time on Tuesday, August 20th on the Locked On College 24/7 streaming YouTube channel. This four-part series covers each of the four major conferences with discussion on which ACC, Big 10, Big 12, and SEC teams have a shot at the expanded college football playoffs. And of course, yours truly will be there talking about the Buckeyes and what they will do in what should be a special season at Ohio State. Be sure to check out this special streaming on Locked On College's 24/7 YouTube channel or on Amazon Fire TV, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Another recruiting miss. We don't like talking about those types of things here. Missing on this guy, missing on that guy. But unfortunately, we have to. Once again, Ohio State has missed out on a massive offensive line recruit. Recently, they missed on Josh Petty. He committed to Georgia Tech. That still gave me a little head scratcher. And then, maybe the biggest name of them all, Ohio State missed out on David Sanders Jr., the number one offensive tackle in the class, a top 5 player in the class as well. He committed to Tennessee over Ohio State, over Georgia, and over Nebraska. And there have been numerous times when we provide the recruiting updates, we talk about, well, Ohio State, they're hot here. Ohio State, they're picking up steam here. Ohio State, they're lacking in this spot. And normally when we talk about Ohio State lacking in a spot, it's about, well, the offensive line. Justin Fry and the way that he's recruiting this group right now. The Buckeyes right now still have the number one overall recruiting class in the cycle of 2025. But unfortunately, they only have 2 offensive line verbal commits in that cycle. And if things stay this way, which I don't think they will, like I know there's time now between August 19th until the early signing day, which I would believe a Buckeyes get at least 2 more verbal commits. Maybe it's not the 5-star. Maybe it's not a 4-star. Maybe it's a couple 3-stars. However, they'll get a couple guys. But things aren't looking good right now for Ohio State on the offensive line. Let's think about this. Let's go a little bit deeper with this because this miss here, it speaks volumes. Volumes about, well, offensive line recruiting is hard. Yes, that is true. 2, developing offensive linemen is hard. Yes, that is also true. But 3, Buckeyes shouldn't lose this to no Georgia Tech or Tennessee. Now, you may be able to say, Jay, was there some monetary benefits for these players that when they committed to these schools? I believe with one of the 2, not saying which one, there was some monetary benefit for them to pick one school. Cool, but still, like, it's Ohio State. Do I sound like a homer right now? Maybe. But talk to any national analyst out there. Yes, Tennessee makes good offensive linemen, develops them well, and so does Georgia Tech, not on the level of Tennessee or Ohio State, but y'all, it's Ohio State. Being a Buckeye to many people is still bigger than being a Volunteer. And it's not like David Sanders Jr. is staying in state. He's from North Carolina. Yes, geographically, Knoxville is closer than Columbus. That is true. However, he ain't staying in state. So all of these things that you may say, well, maybe he's an in-state kid. No. Was it a monetary benefit? Maybe, but you would believe Ohio State would put a package together for him as well. This looks back on Justin Fry, and I'm starting to wonder what's going on with this recruiting of offensive linemen. 2 guys right now. Okay, if we were in May and they only had 2 guys verbally committed, I would be cool with that. Like, okay, like you got the official visit season, you got camp season coming up, you got guys that may want to come on campus before verbally committing. All that is true. So I'd be a little bit more comfortable. I'm not comfortable right now with the offensive line recruiting. And ultimately, next year, off the offensive line, McLaughlin, gone. Fryer, gone. Jackson, gone. That's left guard, center, and right tackle. Josh Simmons, if he plays like we believe he's going to, he's gone. And it wouldn't shock me if Carson Hinzman starts at right guard, plays very, very well, gets some positive feedback from NFL people, and he says he's gone. So now you're looking at offensive line at Ohio State where you're trying to figure out, okay, do you play a lot of all the older guys, or are there some of the younger guys that are going to play next year? If Ohio State loses all 5 offensive linemen, which would be very, very odd. I mean, it's not normal, but it's possible. That's where we are right now. You're losing and replacing what you're losing with guys via the high school recruiting. Now, maybe Justin Fry is saying, we'll go to the portal. Here's the argument against that as far as guys coming in to start right away. How many guys out there in the portal are ready to play at Ohio State as soon as they enter the portal? Not many. I mean, Josh Simmons from San Diego State, he transferred to Ohio State. He started right away, but what did we find? It wasn't no smooth transition when that bad boy got on that football field in the fall. But what did he do? Figured things out. He progressed. He got better. So that's true. If you're trying to figure out and say, well, what's a comparison for David Sanders Jr.? Why did he not pick Ohio State? As Ohio State work with the guy that is a top offensive tackle that made it to the NFL, make a first-round draft pick. Paris Johnson Jr. recently. But he wasn't recruited by Justin Fry. And honestly, I don't think he was coached by Fry either. So Fry has not had a out. Now, granted, he is developing some really good offensive linemen. I do think Fryer will play better. I think Simmons will play better. I think Hinzman will play better. I'm still kind of in wait-and-see mode with Donovan Jackson and with Seth McLaughlin. But I do think at the 2 tackles, I think Hinzman will be the right guard. I think they'll play better. That's a benefit for Justin Fry. But for Sanders Jr. now, if he wants to commit now, I understand it, man. It's not good for Ohio State. Buckeyes are not in a good spot on the offensive line recruiting. Yes, they're going to have to go back and maybe recycle some guys, or maybe try to work to flip some guys that are currently committed to other places, which is a lot of hard work, especially in season. But if you're in this spot, you got to figure something out. Ohio State right now is not in a good spot with offensive line recruiting. And Justin Fry, that seat is hot. Yeah, the O-line development this year, that's great. But I'm sure Ryan Day and Fry are going to have some very serious, important conversations in regards to, okay, cool, you can develop these guys. Got to get these guys on campus too. If you can't get these guys on campus, we're going to have a big problem. One thing the Buckeyes don't have right now as far as a big problem is, well, struggling to figure out who's going to wear the Block O jersey or be a captain this year, because the Buckeyes over the weekend announced 2 will wear the Block O jersey and who the 4 captains will be for 2024. This episode is brought to you by eBay Motors. Passion, drive, and patience. The formula for winning championships is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. Superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to make your car the MVP and bring home huge wins. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit only available to U.S. customers. Thank you for making Locked On Buckeyes your first listen of the day. The Buckeyes have decided via the peers, via the players, who the captains will be in 2024. And one of the 4 captains that Ohio State has named for this season is going to wear the Block O jersey. We'll start there first. 4 captains will come second. Because if you're wearing the Block O jersey, it means a whole lot. It's a very high honor in regards to being able to have that, wear the Block O jersey. It's very unique, and I'm actually really glad Ryan Day started this tradition back. I do believe during the 2020 season. The guy wearing the Blanco jersey this year is Mr. Cody Simon. Cody Simon is the guy, a fifth-year guy, been around the program for a long time. He's been grinding for years for this moment to be the Mike linebacker, to be the leader of the defense, to call the shots, to, hey, coach the player communication. That's going to Cody Simon's helmet. We're going to talk more about that later in the week because I think that's one of the new additions to college football that Ohio State has an upper hand on over other schools out there. But Cody Simon is the guy that's wearing the Blanco jersey. He is someone that is wearing this jersey that I do believe. I'm not going to try to go off the top of the dome, trying to get the notes here. The notes are right in front of me. Jonathan Cooper was the first guy to wear the jersey, and then Thayer Mumford, Cam Babb, and Xavier Johnson. The Blanco jersey, this tradition was started in remembrance of a former Ohio State Buckeye in Bill Willis. He is a college football and pro football Hall of Famer. He wore number 99, and that number is retired inside the horseshoe. He was one of the first two players to break professional football's color barrier for the Cleveland Browns in 1946, alongside fellow Hall of Famer Marion Motley. The jersey, awarded annually, is given to a team leader that embodies Willis's toughness, accountability, and the highest of character. I mean, that's Cody Simon to a T. He is not. What you're going to find with those guys that have that jersey, between Cooper to Mumford to Babb to Xavier Johnson, they're not the guys that are the stars. They're not the guys that are national household names. No. They're the guys that embody exactly that: toughness, highest of character, and accountability. And if you look at Jonathan Cooper, the first guy to get it, I think that's what kind of helped me understand what Ryan Day was looking for. Yeah, I know the words. Who's the player? Coop got that thing, and it made a whole lot of sense. Also, unlike with their Mumford, Simon's actually able to wear the 0 jersey this year, as Mumford being an offensive lineman, he wore that Blanco jersey during pregame, but was not able to wear it during the actual game, as it's not a lineman number. That's a eligible receiver number, and that would have been a whole lot of a big nightmare for Ohio State. Not big nightmare. They could have overcome it, but no, just don't let them wear it. Now, the 4 captains. Let's keep on moving here. The 4 captains for Ohio State this year in 2024, there are only 4 picked by the peers. Cody Simon's one of them. He also, might I add, was the highest voted of all 4 of these guys. So we all think Cody Simon, good linebacker, solid linebacker, at times last year was the best LB on the team. His peers still see that. They see his work ethic. They see how he grinds. He got rewarded for it too. Jack Sawyer's another captain. Emeka Buka is another captain. And Travion Henderson is another captain. These are the 4 captains. Ohio State had 3 last year. They got 4 this year. These are all first-time captains at Ohio State. One of them is a linebacker, and I know James Laurinaitis was very happy about that. I think that came up either in a tweet or in the call that him and Cody Simon made to Simon's parents, just discussing, hey, letting the parents know that Simon is a captain this year. All 4 of these guys well deserved, been around the block for a while. All 4 could have left to go to the NFL. Now, staying in school allows you to help raise your draft stock, but what you find is they all got the same mission: beat the team up north, win the conference, win the natty. They all are in unison of mind. It's a unified group right now, not just at the top, but the entire brotherhood that's in the Ohio State locker room. They're all unified. They're all together. They all understand what's at stake. They understand the task at hand. And when it's by the peers, you could push back and say, no, I think another guy here or there should get it. No, I understand it. Now, granted, Ryan, they could have opened the thing up to 5 or 6 or 7 or 8. Cool. Great. You're not going to walk 8 guys out there for a kickoff at the beginning of the game. So if you want to make it 3, maybe 2, maybe 4, that's understandable, because we have all been at times at games where we have seen guys walk out for the kickoff, and what happens? You find that, well, It's only going to be 3 or 4 guys out there, maybe 2. I was at a volleyball game over the weekend covering a really good volleyball game, and there was one captain from one school that went up there. Okay, cool. Those are things that can happen. But 5 or 6 or 7, we've seen that many captains at Ohio State before. I understand why Ryan decided to keep it at 4. Sawyer, lead that D-line, man. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch this guy play this year. Going to get a lot of buzz. His NFL draft stock is expected to rise and go up. Some are saying he will have a better year this year than Tuimoloau. That's literally a conversation for another day because my thoughts on Tuimoloau might show up in tomorrow's show. Hint, hint, hint. That's all I'll say. But no matter if it's JT or Jack, I do think that Jack is going to be a guy. He's going to be a leader. He was very pivotal to getting a lot of the Buckeyes, or influencing them, not getting them. He can't make the decision. He can't make the decision for them, but he influenced them to stay at Ohio State. Say, hey, look, we know we got plans. We know we can go elsewhere. However, we have things we can do here right now. Abuka, another guy been around for a while. He got gone off to the NFL. I think of all 4 of these guys here, it would have made the most sense for Abuka to leave. However, that injury he suffered last year kept him off the field for numerous games in 2023, and also his desire to accomplish all the goals the Buckeyes have for the year kept him in school. And Travion Henderson, to me, he's growing on me because many of y'all, the everydayers, have heard me talk about Henderson, and some have disagreed, some have agreed. But ultimately, a lot of the things I said about Henderson, I was just looking for more, man. 5-star hype, that makes me expect a lot out of you. But for some reason, that 5-star hype did not translate to making a smooth transition to college football. Why? Because it's hard. Playing ball at Ohio State, it ain't for everybody. It's hard. And we saw in real time, 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, Henderson played really well, struggled a little bit. Henderson played really well, unfortunately got hurt. Played really well, unfortunately struggled. Why? Because it's hard. And what we're finding this year, he got from everything I believe, everything I've heard, seeing some stuff on the YouTube, he got his mind right. We believe and hope his body is right. You got a running mate in Quinshon Judkins, which is going to make things a whole lot easier from him in the backfield. I think Chip Kelly is going to dial up some things for Henderson and Judkins to be on the field together this year. But aside from all that, his peers have seen exactly the kind of man, type of player, type of leader he is, and they have voted him a captain in 2024. Yeah, if there were extras, y'all know me. Denzel Burke, automatic. Hands down, no questions asked. Denzel Burke. Other side of the ball, G. Scott Jr. Hands down, no questions asked. I think those would be 5 and 6. If we wanted to go 7 and 8, I would go 7 minutes, go back to defense, go to JT. JT or Lathan, either one. Been around for a while, grinded. Lathan had dealt with multiple serious injuries. JT, just one of them dudes. If you want to go back on offense, Josh Fryer, man. Y'all know I'm tough on Josh Fryer, but him being an Iron Buckeye this offseason for his workouts and the way he's performed during just the offseason, that speaks volumes to me. And I know it's going to speak volumes to his teammates as they are getting it ready to embark on a journey that should be a lot of fun. Thank you for making Locked On Buckeyes your first listen today. Now go check out the Locked On College Football Podcast. From NIL deals to never-ending conference realignment rumors, Spencer McLaughlin gets you ready for an exciting season on the gridiron. You can find the link to Locked On College Football in the description, so you don't need to search. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. You can follow me on Twitter at jstevens07. Send every email to jstevens317 at gmail.com. We're out of here on a Monday. We'll see you next time.